Welcome back to the video. So, with it being halfway through the Uma Musume meta, and also with last chance qualifiers coming up for a great amount of people, I'd like to go talk over why Uma Musume is pretty much has been a good deck ever since it came out in release, despite bans also being thrown in the English side, and basically give an insight on a few reasons on why Uma Musume is going to be having a pretty good show up heading into LCQs and also tournaments and locals and such. The first thing I would like to talk about that's great with Uma Musume is that they have a lot of very relatively used answers. What I mean by that is that you have a lot of different cards that are able to potentially be a good use of control, and you can play around styles with that. A great example is stuff from Runecraft. You have Lamplit over here, which is select an enemy follower in the field, deal 2 damage, and if it's there's a racing follower on it, you deal 3 damage. But you also have Make Some Noise, which deals something 3 damage, and if you have an Uma Musume card in your field, it does 4 damage. So it's already thoroughly a great start until you start getting into a lot of nice flexibility cards that really help deal with your opponent's board. Stuff like Raindrop Drums, which can cost 2 less to play if you have 10 cards in the cemetery, Uma Musume specifically. You can select any follower in the field and destroy it, which is already really good. And then we get to the main meat and bones, which a lot of people have been more so playing compared to more the spell combo engine, which would be the 7CM Necrocharge spam. And this is really good because it's basically like a Themis Decree, but you also get 3 cards out of it, which is really great. And you also force your opponent to discard 3, which is a very good use, especially when you get to like the super late game. So these are some great examples from Rune and Abyss. You also see some uses of potential control with stuff like Asian Flash, which I don't have over here. Not specifically a spell, but something that's also pretty good overall that a lot of people have been considering, especially with it being a good amount of mix of aggro and control. So especially if you like control usage, the Uma Musume cards are pretty much up your alley. The next thing I'd like to talk about is the utilization of looping, and this is mainly because of this card, Agnes Tachyon. Now, on the base of it, it's not as much other than the -1/-1. However, when you get to her Evolve card, which is on Evolve, select a spell in your cemetery and add it to your hand. Basically, this is going to help loop a lot of different cards. What's also great is that you have a lot of thoroughly low-costed cards. We saw Lamplit earlier, as over here, but you also have these 2 other cost ones, which is Flowers for You, which selects an Uma Musume follower in the field. Give it +1 attack and draw a card, which the extra draw can really help, especially if a follower on the field. But we also have one of the hit cards, which is hit to 1, which is Trial Initiation. This one, majority uses the first effect, which is look at the top 2 cards of your deck, so you may reveal an Uma Musume card from among them, and add it to your hand. The remaining cards go to the bottom of your deck. So what you can do is do stuff like Agnes Tachyon. If you go second, you can just use 1 evolution point, or if you're going first or have a spare evolution point if you're going second, you can evolve this and grab a lot of pretty much any of the thorough low-cost spells, but you can even grab, as we saw earlier, Make Some Noise, or you could even be more bolder and grab Raindrop Drums too if you want to really destroy a card. So potential great uses, and I also really like the looping aspect that Uma Musume has. And another great use of looping is not just spells, but followers. We have Rice Shower, which on last words will select an Uma Musume follower with a different name than itself from a cemetery and add to the hand. So this is what I'm talking about why loopers are pretty good within Uma Musume. You get a lot of chance to reuse a lot of your cards, get some great recursion, and even set up to main strategy that a lot of people like to be going, which is Daiwa and Vodka. So you can go try to use a Rice Shower to go salvage a Daiwa Scarlet, which can basically grab a spell from the deck, or you can even use it to also grab Vodka, and because of Daiwa Scarlet's reduction, you can basically make this a cost 1, or even just hard play Vodka too, and use it as a scaler, or even use Special Week too, which is another scaler, which on Evolve it would have to have Overflow though to scale your entire field. So these are some ideas of why people have been looping overall in this deck, and potentially something that a lot of people like to take advantage of heading into different tournaments, and also just even playing Uma as a deck. The last thing I would like to talk about that makes really Uma Musume thoroughly good is its main finishers. So we have basically these two finishers, which have been highly played in tournaments. We have over here Narita Bryan. You can activate it and rest it. You can select an enemy leader, enemy follower in the field, and deal with 5 damage. So that's a lot to deal with the field, or even just to burn to opponent's face. But it also has Bane, Ward, and Aura. So it's really hard to get over regular target spells. And also the Bane, you would have to keep crashing into this while your opponent sacrifices their own followers as well. And the Ward makes it really tough because of the main stat line being 6-8. It is 8 costs, which kind of balances it all on a higher cost, but this is obviously a pretty thoroughly great lethal card in not just Uma Musume but also Swordcraft, but that's a story for another time. Overall, this card is very good. Used. People even like to race this card and then also try to attack into something to basically take it out and destroy it. So that's some potential ideas that people like to utilize with Narita Bryan. And it's basically a killer if your opponent is closer to the 5 damage mark or is at the 5 damage mark. This is a great lethal use. Another card, though, that is a very great finisher would be Oguri Cap. This one over here is that you have the choice to race up to 3 times, and every race gets +2/+1. And then on its fanfare skill, you also can ditch 2 cards and give it Storm. So you can basically go all the way up to 10 attack. Utilizing 3 carrots and 3 play points, or 2/+1, which is 2 play points and 1 evolution point. But also, even that, you also strike, deal 3 damage to each enemy follower on the field. So even if you cannot specifically clear, this is obviously a very good for a lot of field spam decks, and also really great to go push it out too. You don't even need to race it at times too. The 4 might even just be enough at times, because you also get the strike 3 and then just have a main threatening. Now granted, you do want to race this card notably amount of times, especially with how much character you usually play within the Uma Musume deck. But these are very great thorough push finishers, and this is something that has great balance for the entire card pool of Uma Musume. As I always say, that Uma Musume just basically feels like super crosscraft, and this takes advantage of it, with one being from Sword and one being from Dragon. But because of the Uma Musume deck building rule, you can go combine both of these and have some stellar finishers and other uses too. Like we saw the loopers originally, we also saw the main very cheap cost spells that can also help with activation of Daiwa Scarlet, or even just regular vodka, or even especially scalers. And majority of people are utilizing spell, but these are really great in pretty much any Uma Musume deck. A lot of people have been playing a lot more Narita Bryan than I have personally, and Oguri Cap is just very good for getting those main heavy pushes. Other than that, that's been pretty much the 3 main points that I want to go over. There's a lot of different stuff that I could also go over about Uma Musume and its main utility of card pool, the ability to have flexibility of tech. But overall, I kind of want to just give a thorough overview, because I've been playing Uma Musume, this deck specifically since set 3 in the Japanese side, when after the Japan Championships, I saw a lot of the field was Uma Musume. Granted, we are playing with hits. We have Trial Initiation hit to 1, and also Iconodictus hit to 1. But it also kind of doesn't matter, where there's a lot of different stuff you can explore on the field. I know a lot of people have been, even in spell combo, has been trying to use Agnes Digital, which is another Runecraft cost one, which draw ditches, and that's really good for setting up stuff like, as we kind of go back to some of the original ideas within the deck, Agnes Tachion, and you can go evolve it to go grab the spell. So like if you draw a ditch and ditch the spell, you can go find a way to grab it back. So that's some great ideas. I like a lot of the play around, and this is why Uma Musume is an overall interesting concept. And I'm excited to see a lot of people try it. And if you haven't tried it yourself, then feel free to definitely try it out. It's very pretty interesting when people see Uma Musume for the first time, especially combining a lot of different aspects from basically every class, including neutral. But yeah, let me know what's your thoughts on how do you think Uma Musume is good from your perspective, or is it potentially bad? And I'm just kind of making stuff up though. But as someone who's had experience with Uma Musume, I definitely see a lot of the main strengths. It also has notable weaknesses. Keep that out watching for possibly another future video. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Thank you all for watching in today's video. Continue to embrace the darkness, and we will see you all in the next video.